Thanks everybody for joining today, our webinar about what's new in Xara Cloud. My name is Matt and I'm actually the CEO of Xara, and joining me today is Aaron Sutter, who is head of product management for Xara. We realized that we've released many new features over the past couple months, and a lot of new and great capabilities, some workflow improvements, and things like that. We thought it would be a great time to actually have a webinar and show these type of things in action, and hopefully you can find some benefit of it as well. So in today's webinar, we're gonna touch on many different things. It's gonna be a very live and interactive session. I'm a typical user of Xara Cloud. I'm not a designer. I create business documents probably like the majority of everybody on the phone or on the webinar. And so I'm gonna do a few things, how users do it, and hopefully demonstrate a few things. One is around Xara's kind of what we call smart capabilities, where the premise of the product is building design tools and capabilities into the platform, so it just feels natural and easy drag and drop editing for users, but a lot of times that designers would have to do in a different way. We're also going to talk about the new asset library and object locking, which really kind of focuses on branding and brand management of documents, how users can get quick and easy access to assets to use over and over again, and also the ability to create templates, lock templates, so the brand and things get established and adhered to, but yet content creators can do what they need to do. And then we'll also talk a little bit about document analytics, a really cool new feature that we've added, where you can actually see how well your content is performing. But we want it to be interactive as much as possible. It's going to be very free form, probably a little bit different than a standard, slide webinar from there. So it's going to kind of be on the fly, and the Q&A is wide open, and so is a chat. But so please ask any questions. Aaron will be interactive with me, but we'll also be monitoring that Q&A, and we'll be answering questions as they come up in the presentation. If you also have questions that might relate specifically to you and your use cases, please ask them. We'll answer those as well as we go through the presentation. One thing that I did notice, though, is that we're missing someone on our host. We're missing Anna. Anna is our marketing manager at Xara, who probably get many emails from, and we should actually include her. So one of the things that I want to do is let's add her, and let me just quickly demonstrate one of our new capabilities, which is smart duplication, where you can actually just take an existing component, drag it, and it will automatically replicate it. Then we need to replace Aaron with Anna. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the image to replace from our team assets. And hopefully there's a photo of Anna in there, and there she is. So let's just go ahead and add her. And then what you'll notice now is very simple. It automatically took the black and white formatting. And so I'm double click and we'll put Anna, put her name in here, and take away product and put marketing. And it's really that simple. Now we have a spacing issue that we want to fix. So what I'm going to do is actually select these, and I'm going to use the spacing mechanism here. And then I'm gonna move over here, put it in the middle, but actually I think I want a little bit more spacing. So with these space bars on the smart duplicate, we can actually automatically drag and move.
It's actually even an advanced trick, Matt. If you position it in the center and then you hold down your shift key and use that spacing handle again, it's gonna, yeah.
There we go. That's exactly what I was looking for. So use space bar. I learned something today as well. You can actually, but it's really cool, these smart duplicate and with it automatically adding. And if you do, for example, if you want to do multiple like this and you smart duplicate, it will do 3, it can do 2, or it can do 1, as many as you have. And then obviously it will do the spacing accordingly as well. So I messed up on our slides to begin with, but we got Anna and we're off and running. So a couple things, we'll go through a much more smart editing tools that we've added recently in the last few months. That was smart duplication, but we'll show a little bit more on that, and smart replication, and really just the overall smart editing capabilities that you might find and need in Xara. Another thing is we'll go into the asset library, and I'm going to show you a couple things on that right now, and then we'll go into document analytics. So one thing before I move on from this presentation is I noticed that in our image library, Aaron is not saved there. So I want to go ahead and just click on Aaron's photo, use the more on the context menu, and hit add to assets. And I can pick where I want to save it, obviously the images. And now I'm presented with the modified version or the original. I can do either or, but I'm going to go ahead and do modified and save that into the image library. If I wanted to save both, for example, I could just go ahead and hit add assets again, and it's actually going to save it as a component in that case, because it will save the smart shape. And I'll get to that. Oh, I didn't have the image selected, my bad. I'll show that in 1 second. Hit add assets, images, and then we can do the original as well if we want to. So it's ultimate flexibility. And now these images are available in the library for the next presentation or a flyer. We have a lot of real estate customers, and you can put the images of the real estate agents there and then literally just drag them onto your document when needed. There's a couple other things I want to do. Is this smart guide layout is I want to add this to the asset. So I'm going to go ahead and hit add asset, and I'm going to go ahead and put this in images as well. And I'm going to go ahead and do the original. Then one other thing that I want to do is actually, I'm going to select all this, all of us, and I'm going to group. And now that I'm going to group it, I'm going to go ahead and hit add to assets. What I'm going to do is add that as a Xara component. And basically what that means is this component will have 3 people that will add the ability to have smart duplicate, the ability to move handles, and basically save it as any other component that you would get in our standard ad bar. So very cool. You can create unlimited things in Xara. We'll show you that a little bit more. So now that we've moved on, here's a question. How is the image library linked to the cloud storage? Is that a folder? Very good question. So team, and Aaron, why don't you actually answer that one?
Yeah, the image library linked to the cloud storage. This is actually our storage on Xara, so we actually host it. So anything that you upload in here will be stored on our Xara server. And here on top, you see the storage volume. So here, this is, I think we're on a team. Here you have 5 gigabytes of storage available. And currently we have consumed 55 megabytes. Adding more images will obviously drain the storage.
That's correct. And so to make it really simple, 1 click, add to your library, and that library will be available to you and the rest of your team members. So if we went into the Xara, our team at Xara into this, you'll see many logos and images and components, and as we continue to build out our library as well. Now, one thing that I notice is that we don't have any logos in our product. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And I think this is a very popular use case that happens all the time. When someone comes to Xara, they want to get their logos into the product. And most of the time they're on their local computer. So you can just hit add plus. You can take images or assets from many different spots, but I have it on my local computer in this case. You probably might not see this screen.
We see.
You did, great. So I have a folder called logos, and I'm just going to actually multi-select and do them all and just hit add. And it will automatically start uploading those. So if you have consolidated folders for images or logos or and things like that, it's 1 click, very simple to add. You can see them all added, super fast, all added into the document. And now I have, and my team have, all the necessary logos for our brand. So very cool. All right. So
I think something to mention still is for deletion, if you accidentally uploaded the wrong logo or you have updated your logo, it's as simple as editing. It's just you hover over it and you see the X and then you just remove it. Right.
Yep, that's simple. So management and whatnot, if you accidentally upload some things that you don't need, you can delete them. Or if you upload or save an image asset like I did from the document, you realize, oh, I don't need these in the future, just go ahead and delete it. Not a problem. Question, do you support SVG files yet?
We do support upload of SVG files also here. So you can upload SVGs into the logo section.
Not a problem. And onto your document as well.
And obviously also onto your document.
Yeah. So full support of SVG. I think that was released a while ago.
That's released a while ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Then if someone deleted by mistake, we unfortunately at the moment, we don't have any trash or history of it. However, this functionality is also something I think we haven't mentioned yet, is only for admins in your team. So this is an admin capability, and normal members, so the other roles that we have in our team, they are not able to delete and manage these assets.
Correct. All right, so I'm going to go through some more functionality here and some of the new things, and I'm going to go ahead and just open a presentation here. So I'm going to, this doesn't matter if it's a presentation or if it is a flyer, anything that I'm going to show you can be done in any document form. So it doesn't matter. So what you can see here, first thing is as you might know, all documents that you open in Xara can automatically have a brand applied. One of the core foundation principles of Xara is branding and making sure that there is a strict brand when it's available to a document. So in this case, I've set up a Xara brand. I've also done something really cool, is created a reverse color scheme. I called it Xara Dark. That will, I can change it and automatically apply. And it's pretty cool. If you have not set up your brand in the system, it's very simple. Over here in document properties, which you can access by hitting file document properties or deselect everything, it will show up, is you just go ahead and hit create a brand. In this case, I'm going to select manage brands. You can see them set up. This star indicates that I want the brand to apply, this brand to apply on open of any template. You can also set up multiple brands within the product. And the other point, if for some reason you wanted to go back to the original theme of the Xara design, you can click up here and say original template design. It will go back to that color scheme, but the logo and smart fields of the company will still be there. I mean, I think we run on the premise that if there is, if it's a company and there's a logo, they're going to want that logo on that content. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to put it back to the, I'm going to go with the dark brand. Let's add a couple more pages let's do this page, and let's add a blank one. And then one thing that you'll notice is brand new as well is
we just have another question on import of Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator files, and if Designer Pro is more compatible with.
Okay, let me take that question.
Yeah, let's take it.
Let me continue here. So one of the things is we've added a bunch of new smart, what we call smart layouts. And as you can see here, just a massive inventory of unique slide layouts that are very cool, because as soon as you click on one and add it to your document, it will automatically be branded based on what the logos, the colors, and whatnot. We have them right now for slide presentations. These smart layouts will now be coming in very quickly in flyers, brochures, and the other types of contents where layouts are limitless, but you don't want to set them up. So we're helping you with the auto branding coming into play. So taking this a step further, let's go in and add a timeline. So we're working with, let's say in this case, we're working with a project that we want to present a timeline of what's happening with the project. So I'm going to go ahead and take this timeline, drag it onto my document. Hopefully it will color properly with my color scheme, which I broke, which is my fault. So I'm going to go ahead and make it simple and just revert back. Okay, so there we go. And I've added it to my document. So the next smart tools that we've added into the product is what we call smart layouts. The ability to add and remove information on a component. So in this case, let's say, for example, we needed 3 steps to our timeline. So step 1, and then step 2, and then step 3. We don't need a 4th. Well, a lot of times this is very difficult to configure. So what we'll do is we'll just delete this one. In Xara, with the smart layout, will automatically adapt so it doesn't ruin the design. It actually creates a design for you on the fly. Let's say we actually didn't need this. Now we needed 5 steps. We'll just click one more for step 4 and step 5. Then we just have to go in here and edit 4 and 5. It's very simple and very easy. You can adjust other things as well. So like Aaron showed, the spacing, we can reorder. If we actually created step 5 and wanted that to make step 3, we just drag, reorder, and now step 5 becomes step 3, and you can reorder it based on the information that you have. Makes it really simple, makes it really easy. You can scale these components. And if you have less text, you can use what Aaron showed before to move and the spacing in between the different steps. Alrighty, so that's, you'll find the smart layout. One of the things about the smart system within Xara is the right tools at the right time. So in this case, this specific design required this smart layout, but there's other designs, for example, that might not need it. Let's say if we go into our business graphics, let's add real quick, actually, before we do that, let's just quickly add another blank page. Just add this and go back into diagrams. And let's see, for example, what's another good one that's pretty popular? This step 1 is really popular. Let me drag it onto my document. It automatically brands for me, which is awesome. And I need actually 6 steps to my design. So I'm going to go ahead and use the smart duplicate. And what you'll see is step 5 and step 6. It automatically replicates onto the document. And I can go ahead and here do this. It's 5 and step 6. It will. So again, we don't need the smart layout that I showed you, but in this case, we need the duplicate to move it. And all the same functionality applies where if I click on it, I can adjust the spacing in between using that. If, for example, we decided that we didn't need the 6th step, we only wanted 5, we just drag back. Oops, my bad. Let me do undo. No problem, they come back, and then let me get rid of 6, and now we have 5. So very cool. This is a lot of investment that we've made over the past few months in releasing these, not only the technology, but all these components in the right-hand side, one of the most popular things that are used within the product. Aaron, what did I miss? What other tips do you have on these?
On these, I think that it's clear here that we have a pattern that is repeating. I think we could also show it on if you take the one from above or 2 above.
This one?
It's, yeah. If
This
you,
one?
Can you hear me still?
Yes, this one.
Oh.
There we go.
Kicked out.
I think Aaron was talking about this one,
Yeah,
which is really
sorry.
cool. Do you drag it down? Oops,
I lost my internet connection. Yeah, exactly. So here you can drag it down, and yeah, we can repeat these.
And then with the selection model, you can go ahead and change the color to something that you might like. Maybe I'll want to make this one like a lighter gray as we start getting down. Leave the blue change. So again, a lot of flexibility, a lot of things that you can do to make a very compelling design. One of the last things on the smart kind of capabilities that I wanted to show was actually around imaging. So we get a lot of questions around this, and since I have many people on the webinar today, I wanted to talk about a lot of the tools that are here on imagery. So when you click an image, you'll see many different handles, and they all kind of serve different things, different purposes. So for example, there's a handle here, a hand that allows you to, well, I mean, first of all, I'm going to click on the image and I'm going to replace it. Let's replace something from team assets. Let's do, how about something that we can kind of see? Let's maybe do this one. So as you can see here, that there's a little bit that's kind of chopped off. So one of the first things that you can do, if you double click, so when Xara imports an image, it makes it the size of the container that you're there. But you can actually double click on these handles you see here, and it will uncrop the image. I want it cropped. But what I want to do is actually recenter it. So there's another handle over here on the left-hand side that's a hand. And if I click on it and move, I can move the image within the actual container itself. So I'm going to put it right there. Another thing you can do is you have this handle up on the right-hand side, which is a rotate and scale. So I can actually click on it and I can rotate the image around. If I drag right and left, I can zoom in. So let's say we wanted to zoom in a little bit. Maybe we wanted it to be like that to fill the container. Many different options on those handles for image editing that might not be obvious at the very beginning, but I know people use imaging so often that, you know, I wanted to highlight those tools for you. All righty. So now that we have this document, let's assume that this document is actually what we wanted to save as templates. But one of the things that we might want to do with this template is we actually want to lock things down on branding wise. So for example, I'm going to click on this logo. And as you can see with the image, there, oops, what's going on here? There is a new lock feature here. So if you click lock, over on the right-hand side, you'll see many different locking options. Completely unlocked, you can lock it all. You can lock the aspect ratio, or you can also lock size and position. So in this case, I'm going to lock it all, and I'm going to fully lock it down. The other thing that I want to do is actually lock it or put a setting on there that only administrators, designers, can actually unlock this. So people like me who are creating presentations all the time, I can't ruin certain things about our brand and our design of that template. So this is a great piece. One of the things to know for people that are Designer Pro Plus users out there, are rich desktop editing product, you will now have these same capabilities in Pro Plus that you'll be able to set on documents. And if you're creating the template there and then upload it in the cloud, the properties that you set in Pro Plus will then be adhered to within Xara Cloud as well. You can do that with any of the other designs. You can also, for example, if we wanted to save this component again, which is kind of cool, save it to our asset library. I'm going to go ahead and save asset library. I'm going to save it as a component. And now that will get saved there for, let's say, for example, let's add an empty slide. And I'm going to go into our asset library. And the component that we saved, I'm just going to drag it right onto our document. It works there like any other component. I can go ahead and click on the image. Let's say we want to replace it from, I want to put, let's say, a cloud in there because that's the design I'm working on. And there it goes. You get the circle. You get everything that you would normally do from here. I see there's a question about zoom and scale inside container. Can you lock the rotation so you can scale without worrying? You can scale without worrying about scaling. Aaron, do you want to take that one?
I'm not sure if I fully understand the question. So it's that you don't accidentally rotate the image, is that?
The image will only rotate if you grab it, but I guess one of the things that you would do is if you click on it, you can lock it. And I guess you could lock aspect ratio.
Yeah, but then you're only locking the aspect ratio, so it cannot be distorted. So that is what we can lock.
Okay, so you can do things. You can
You would
actually scale.
here
You
this,
can scale it without rotating it. So it's
yeah.
at 0%. So there, I scaled it in, and it didn't rotate. So you get both functions. It depends on what you want to do. If you go up and down here, or if I turn, so you can do both in the same function.
Yeah.
That, and then I can take the hand, maybe move this up a little, and you can put it there. So you'll see that when you're doing a lot of images, especially with the out-of-box templates and adding stuff in there, you will get all that functionality in the out-of-box templates within Xara. Okay, so let's say that this is our template. You want to hit File, Save as Template. So hopefully you've noticed that in the File menu. And you can see here, I already have some other templates. Let's just call this, I don't know, I'm just going to call it Webinar Demo. And I can just save it in here. And now it acts like any other template within Xara. So when a user comes and accesses the team templates and opens it up, it will be an unsaved file that they can edit, and they're not ruining the template. As you can see what happened here now that I opened it. But let's say I needed to make a couple more changes to this template. Let's say that we wanted to, for example, this up here, we wanted to unlock it for users. So I'm going to go ahead and click it, and I'm going to unlock it. Maybe so they can move it around and do other things with it. So I'm going to unlock it. Then all I have to do is hit File, Save as Template again. Go ahead and click there, Replace, and it will overwrite or update, in a sense, the template that you need. I see that on the question about the rotating in the image, it seems like it creates a bunch of skill. No, it's actually really simple. Just drag right and left and whatever. Give it a try. If you find that it's difficult, give us some feedback. Maybe there's an improvement that we can make as it relates to that. Very good. So saved as a template, saved as an asset library, a bunch of things that we have happening there. So one of the other things that I wanted to do is I'm going to save this document real quick. And we'll save here, save. And I'm going to demonstrate the share to web functionality. So I'm going to go ahead and save this document. And if you hit share and share to web, you have the ability to add page transitions. And this can be, again, a flowing document. So it could be a brochure. We see a lot of people using these with customer proposals, sales presentations, customer or product brochures as well. You can add different transitions. I'm going to leave it as cube. And then there's speed, and there's different settings. And then you also have viewer options. So you can show page previews. You can enable it to be downloaded as a PDF document. So we do that. If you go to Xara.com, you'll notice in our branding hub, there's many documents that you can download. They're all Xara Cloud documents that we've done a share to web on. Maybe you want to have branding or not branding. So I'm going to go ahead and add branding and then publish. And what it does is this creates a unique URL for this document. And then it's up to you to decide if you want to distribute or share it or not. You can share it with one person, or you can share it with many. What I'm going to do is copy this. And I'm going to go ahead in the chat to everybody. I'm going to go ahead and paste that, and everybody can click on it. And I believe once you click on that document, it will open up for you, and you'll see the presentation that I've just created here. You'll be able to thumb through it. You'll be able to, or page through it. You'll be able to get the transitions. You won't be able to download it as a PDF. And check it out. So everybody, please just click on that link for me real quick. It'll be pretty fun. So Aaron, what are a couple other things that you think we should highlight here with some of the new capabilities that I might have missed?
I think maybe on the locking, I think we have only very briefly touched it. So I think on slide 2, we could potentially show um, here that we do lock position and size, maybe.
Okay. So we'll go ahead
Um,
and click on the image and hit
yeah,
lock.
lock
And
size and position. Yeah.
okay, we'll go ahead
And
and lock it.
here, so this means that your teammates, they have to use the image, but they can replace it. So they cannot delete it. So this is for template usage. It's quite helpful because you say in our design, we want to have an image that goes with the text, for example, something very common. So here you cannot reposition the image, you cannot delete it, but users can replace it. So that's, I think, also a locking functionality that has been requested by several customers. And yeah, probably not that obvious if you haven't looked into the
There you
possibility.
go. That's really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, absolutely. Very nice.
And something else that came up in our questions is if you can create website templates, meaning top menu and footer will repeat, for example. We have a repeating object functionality, so you can create something that will be repeated on every page. However, yeah, so maybe let's put a header, but I think here the question is rather for a sort of a navigation bar. And so let's maybe see, let's maybe
Well,
just
there's two
demonstrate
things.
this. Yeah.
So one is that Xara Cloud is not a website builder. I'll be very open and direct. Our Designer Pro Plus product, our desktop product, is a website builder. You can do full-fledged websites with it. Once those websites are built with navigation bars and other things like that, you can open and do basic editing of those files within Xara Cloud and republish those websites as well to the hosting provider of choice. Now you can within Xara Cloud create links between different pages. So for example, let's say we have, and we do this a lot ourselves, let's go back to this document, let's add a page, and let's add, let's say for example, a table of contents. And let me put that up here. And you can, for example, let's say map your journey. I can go ahead and select it. And then over on the right-hand side.
In the top, yeah, below the B, yeah, up. Or in the context menu, you have the hyperlink.
Ah, there it is. Sorry. So the hyperlink, and then you can go ahead and say link to page. So if I go ahead and hit link to page, then I would select, let's see, page 3. And what you'll see here is a link. And if you click on it, it will go to this page. And so when you're shared a web, you'll be able to move between the user will see a link and they'll be able to click and move to the other pages. And actually, let me go ahead and do this, share to web. I'm going to update our share to web link. And so that link that I presented to you in the actual chat window should be able to click on it and you'll be able to see this document being updated with that new feature that we just added.
Yeah.
And so you can add those all over the document in table of contents or between different pages.
Yeah, but you can also use this as sort of a navigation bar for the top. So you can basically build your own navigation bar if it's a simple website or a simple web document, let's say. You can simply put little buttons anywhere in the top, make them repeating on all pages and link them and create a link similar to what Matt just showed.
Yeah, that's probably a little bit above my pay grade, but let's say, for example, we add in, let's add a couple icons here. Let's add, let's just assume these are what you want to link. And you could have these as a bar across the top. And again, you would do the same thing, click on it, add a link, and you can link to a page. You can actually link to an external link. You can within document, without a document across there. So you can actually create your own bar and design it across there and have it linked to wherever you want it to go.
And then you can, if you want this on every page to appear on every page, you can
so
maybe
let's
show how to. repeat on all pages.
Thanks,
So,
Aaron. I appreciate you putting me under fire here.
so and
So
then here on the right hand side, no, that was correct. No, no, no.
there we
So now
go.
it's selected. So hang on. So now we selected one or
Then
many of them, and then we simply select repeat on all pages. And once this is clicked, if you scroll down to the next page,
it'll
you're
be
going to see
repeated
this is
on
going to
pages.
occur on every page now.
Very
So that's
similar to what you saw with like the bottom bar here when I add a slide or whatnot, and they're there, it will repeat on every page. So you can do it. You know, obviously this wasn't the best example. Very good question, but definitely possible to do. And then you can actually, as well, speaking of which, because I know I do this a lot, if you select these objects, and for example, I don't want them on this page, if I hit delete, it will ask me, do you want to delete from all pages or do you only want to delete from this page?
Yeah.
So I can go ahead and do that as well.
Yeah,
so,
because typically in presentations, the first page as the title page doesn't have the same objects as all the other pages. For example, the logo has a different position, or there's no, a footer or whatever else.
Yeah. All right, so now that we've done all that, I want to show you next would be document insight. So I'm going to go back to the home screen, and there's a new thing called Analytics Dashboard. And so that link that I shared with everybody, we're going to scroll down, and I believe it's this what new right here on webinar. So I've done it quite a bit, as you can see. And as you can see here, we actually had a webinar this morning with a bunch of people as well who clicked on the link, and I can see if they are actually with my content. So I can see if I send it to an individual, I can see if that person is engaged. I know we have many of our business customers doing this for sales presentations. They'll send the link off to a prospective client or a contract, and they'll be able to see if that person has opened the document or not. They'll see how long they actually spent viewing that presentation, and they'll see what pages. So if you actually click into the individual session, this person in Berlin, not sure who it was, spent 12 minutes on the document and 60% completion rate. They went through basically the first 4 slides, skipped around very quickly, and then went away. So it's very good. You can see if somebody's spending time. We do it again on our own content where Anna can see if people are, how they're interacting with our marketing content, and we can improve it. And as you saw with that link that we did, where you can, link to another page, and I republished the document, you can then make changes on the fly, republish, don't have to contact the web developer, anybody else. You can update the proposal for the customer and just send them a note, document updated. They click on the same link and they'll see the new content without you having to send another PDF file or anything along those lines. And you can see if your content continues to improve the engagement. It's a really cool feature. We've continued to add more and more capabilities of this. You can actually get to this area about editing documents or view the shared link. This is a feature that I use in my own day-to-day work very often. All righty, so that is highlighting a lot of the capabilities. I'm trying to be sensitive to your time. I know there's a couple questions that I would like to answer, but now there's also the time for you to ask that question as we kind of wrap up and get to the session. One of the questions was about Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator files, and about just Magic, the version of the Xara product sold through Magic. So Xara has a new product called Designer Pro Plus that comes bundled with Xara Cloud. We sell it as a group. That product does have more features and more capabilities. It also works better with Xara Cloud. It's just because it's always updated. We're always keeping in sync to make sure that the files are in sync. If you are an existing desktop customer and you're curious about coming over to Designer Pro Plus, just contact us through the website, and we have some special offers to make that very seamless and easy for you to do. Can we handle Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator files? The answer is yes, to varying degrees, depending on what version you're using and what version of the different products you're using. but it is capable to bring those products into. Aaron, is there anything specific we should touch on that?
Yeah, so I guess for Photoshop especially, I guess I would recommend you use our DP Plus version of product.
Correct.
Because here we tend to update the filters very frequently, and so the import filters very frequently, and this should be to a high degree that it's 100% not always, it's never going to be 100% compatible, but we're at around 95-98% of compatibility, so I think that's very accurate. And Illustrator files you can also import into Xara Cloud, but then you have to export it as EPS. So individual objects you could export as vector files basically. And if you export it as vector files, you can import it to Xara Cloud. If you want to import the entire file, I would also recommend to do it with DP Plus, because this is quite a complex and robust operation. Therefore, it's a professional tool is required. So
PDF files in Xara Cloud are, is no problem. They work extremely well. It's actually a very popular use case that people do. Where again, as Aaron mentioned, with every single release of Xara Cloud and every single release of Designer Pro Plus, there's always improvements to the importing and exporting capabilities as users try it, and we get a corner case. We just get the file and we update it, and it goes along.
Great that you mention it. If you ever come across trying to import something that doesn't work as you would expect it, send it over and we'll take a look. And in most cases, we fix this quite fast.
Yeah, there's another question about document analytics and how are modifications handled. So what it does is when you post a new version, so like in the case that I did, let's go back for a second. There probably should be a second version of the a webinar intro. So what you'll see here's 2 webinar intros that I did. It creates a second version when changes are done. That if you click on it, it will tell you that will be your second or most current version, so you can see how your changes impacted the actual statistics. So it's very cool. It treats each one uniquely. So again, depending on how often you're changing it, you could have many different versions of the thing. One thing that I didn't do on this is you can see different slide names. I didn't properly update the page names, but you can easily do that within the product. So for it, I don't have it on this one, but if you click on a slide over here on the left or a page, let's call it a page, it doesn't matter, and it says cover. So I can call this title if I wanted to, and it will be reflected in the analytics. So I hope that answers that question as well. Aaron, it looks like there's a few others coming in. I think one of the questions is about if you replace a DP Pro desktop file in the cloud and place it in a cloud precedent, if you overwrite the file, a newer version, is it updated? I'm not really sure. The way that it works between Designer Pro Plus and Xara Cloud is through cloud storage, so like a Dropbox or Google Drive. So you would have the file stored there, and then you can open it and edit it with Designer Pro Plus, save it, and then in Xara Cloud, you would go to here and you would open that same file. You connect that cloud storage, open that file through here, open it, edit it within Xara Cloud, and it will save and back out to the cloud storage. And now that single file is always up to date in your cloud storage, and you're updating between there, between the two products. I think that's hopefully what you're asking. Yes, Xara does work in a single file mode. That is kind of like Google Docs, for example. If you're opening and editing in Xara Cloud, you're always just working on the same file over and over again. If for some reason you do overwrite it and you need a stopgap, if you're using Dropbox or Google Drive for this type of scenario, you can always log into your Dropbox and do a file version and recover an older file version if you get stuck. We haven't actually had that case very often that I can actually even remember, or that we hear from our support team. So for the most part, yeah, but our goal is to not have file explosion if possible. A very interesting question that I see here is about NFTs, so non-fungible tokens, which is kind of this new phenomenon going on about being able to, I guess in a sense, keep the original for, I guess, lack of a better word. If you as a designer or somebody creates an original of a document, you create a token out of it that then makes that the only original one. Obviously, it's something we're always looking at, future technologies, NFTs, AI, machine learning, other things, and we always have little projects going on. We don't have a specific initiative happening with NFTs. It could be very interesting. I think, you know, the market was here and it's back down here. But we'll see how that, we're always keeping abreast of the market, but honestly, we don't have specific plans to address it at the moment. If you do have some ideas, we'd love to hear your thoughts on them. Feel free to shoot us an email and go from there. About the webinar, yes, the webinar is recorded, or it is being recorded. I hope I did it right. And we will have a version of this one or a version of our earlier one today, synthesized, kind of narrowed down a little bit, and it will be published online and sent out to everybody for hopefully review and maybe share with a few people as well. That would be fantastic. We'd really like that. All righty. I think there are any other questions, Aaron, before we kind of...
I think the last one before we wind up, I think would be, can you place a Designer Pro desktop file? I guess you sort of touched it, but yeah, I think, yeah, maybe we can go through that again, because this is also a question that comes up all the time, because we have...
What's the question?
Can you place a Designer Pro desktop file? Place is probably open.
Open? Yeah. So there's a couple ways. So first of all, if you're in an existing document, you can actually upload another document into this document and combine it. So for example, if you can click the upload and you can pull it from different areas, cloud storage URL or your computer. So you can upload an existing Xara file if you want into this Xara Cloud. You can combine files, a PDF file, whatever it may be. So that's one way. Another way would be is if you're here, you can open any Xara file or .web file from your cloud storage if it's there, or you can also import file. And here you can import a PDF. We support PowerPoint, docs. You can import an image natively as well. Plus, Aaron mentioned Illustrator files and whatnot through this simple function. So many different ways of bringing documents in and or combining documents into one within Xara Cloud. Most desktop files should be pretty compatible. Obviously, Pro Plus is the most or is the most current and the most supported. As you get older in your desktop versions, the compatibility is good, but there could be, you know, obviously we want you to hopefully upgrade to Designer Pro Plus, of course, right? All righty. Anything else? Is there a page limit? Oh, another question. A lot of questions coming in. Fantastic. Is there a page limit to documents? No, there's not. You can go ahead and add as many pages as you want. Obviously, page limit is not a big issue with the product. Obviously, it's going to be imagery and size of file. We do have image optimization technology automatically built in. So if, for example, we've had a couple people create 50-page brochures where each page had, I don't know, 10 to 15 images on it. Those obviously would need to be optimized when you're working, but your output quality will never be compromised. It will export out to PDFX to send off to a production printer for high quality, glossy print job. So no problem there. It's more about just the performance of editing, but not a big issue. Alrighty, well, I'm going to leave it at that. We have, you can always reach us through the chat in the product in Xara Cloud, or if you go to Xara.com, there's chat on the website or a contact us page. feel free to reach out to us. We're trying to be as available as much as possible. We have some really cool, we have another, I think, product release tomorrow or early next week. That's going to be something very cool around social media. So if you're really big into creating social media into Xara, I think you'll be very, very happy with the upcoming release. We'll probably be doing another webinar as well on that, and more going forward. So we appreciate the time. Enjoy the rest of your day for most of our folks in the US. And thank you very much. Appreciate the engagement. Take care and look out for the recording. There'll be an email follow-up. Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it.
Thank you.